Hello everybody, here I am again in another video. Let's look at Frank's 2018 book reading challenge. How many have I read? Oh crap. In one of my videos I talked about a few books I was reading, but they were all like shorter books about spirituality. I don't know that I count those as books. Yeah, they were books, but I haven't read like a legit book since August. So almost a year. And I feel guilty about that. I feel like I should want to read more than I do. There are people who are ravenous readers and I don't get it. How do you read so much? Can someone help me? I think I want to try to do like a book review episode every once in a while, like maybe every month. I'll talk about a few books. We'll do like a book club. Maybe that'll help me read. So today I just wanted to go through the books that I started to read and then didn't finish for one reason or another. First, here's The Disaster Artist, which is being made into a movie, if it's not already a movie now, about the movie The Room. I got this for my ex-girlfriend, not the one that I always talk about, how depressed I am that we broke up, but the one before that. And then she said, hey, you'd like this, and then she gave it to me to read, and then we broke up. So we're still on good terms, but I haven't had a chance to give it back to her. I read like the first couple chapters in a waiting room at a doctor's office and haven't touched it. Next I have We Are Not Ourselves by Matthew Thomas, a novel. I got it at Barnes & Noble like in the discount section. It was like $4. What's weird though is that it was on the shelf in another part of the bookstore for like $16. So I don't know if this was a damaged copy or does that mean it's a remainder? I don't know. I don't understand. But I stopped reading it on page 89 because it started to get too close to home, too existentially provoking. It was following this young woman's life in her 20s and then talking about how they got into their 30s and how their life was slipping by. And I was like, nope, can't do it. Too much, too close to my heart. And I felt like I was having an existential crisis as I read it. Maybe I should just keep reading it to put myself through that. The common theme I feel like is that I get too sensitive about stuff and I can't keep reading because I don't want to put myself through it. Next is Freakonomics by Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner. The two Stevens, Steven squared. This is another one that my ex-girlfriend got me this because she loved it. And I haven't read it yet. I keep feeling like I should, but I think it's going to challenge my worldview and my preconceived notions, and I don't really want to have my worldview challenged. So that's why I haven't read it yet, but I've heard it's good. And next book that I didn't finish is Swamplandia by Karen Russell, a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize in 2012, I believe, although that year they didn't award the Pulitzer in literature, which must be a slap in the face to the people who are nominated. It's like, hey, you're good, but you're not good enough. We're not going to give it to any of you. You guys suck. Do I still have a bookmark? Jeez, I read that far into it. So that's the beginning of the book. I read over half of it and stopped. I don't know. Like, it's a well-written book. The author was 29 when she wrote this, which makes me jealous that she was industrious and got something done and did something with her life. I don't know. It was well written, but it was just like kind of cynical, and I wasn't loving it. It wasn't like McDonald's because I wasn't saying ba-da-ba-ba-ba while I was reading it. Maybe I'll go back to it. The thing is, it's all right. I read half of it. That was 2 years ago. It was like May 2016 when I was reading it. Like, I don't want to start over again, but I'm not going to remember it well enough to just jump back in. So I'm going to have to like wait longer to really forget it and then go back to the beginning. Next book that I didn't finish is The Art of Fielding by Chad Harbach. This was another one that I got on discount at Barnes & Noble. This has a lot of good reviews, but I didn't think it was very good. I read to page 52. And I just didn't like the writing. I thought it was not very good. This is this guy's first novel, I think, after getting his MFA or something. And sometimes I just feel like, I don't know. It's this irrational thing where I get jealous of writers who did something, who published something, who accomplished something, but it's not very good. And I'm like, I get mad at myself, I guess. I'm like, dude, you should have written this book, man. Another book that I read all the way through that I was like, this is terrible, is it was written by John Grisham, Calico Joe. It was like some of the worst writing I've ever read, but I read the whole thing just to see if there was something I was missing. I don't mean to offend you if Calico Joe is your favorite book, but it's terribly written. It's awful. I don't know if all John Grisham's books are that bad, but that one in particular was dreadful. But I read the whole thing. I don't know. I think I just wanted to see how not to write a book, so I read it. I've gotten to page 36 of this big honker, Napoleon, by Andrew Roberts. This is pretty big. It's how many pages? Almost 900 pages. I got this a few years ago and started to read it. It's supposed to be really good, and I have some interest in Napoleon. He's a very interesting person. I wrote a play about Napoleon once. It wasn't very good. Actually, the first half of the play was good, and then it fell apart. I really want to read that book because I feel like I would feel erudite if I finished it. And I could tell people how smart I was because I read a book. Lastly, and this is probably the book that I'm going to try to read next. I got this one from Thrift Books, so it doesn't have the dust jacket. But All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And, this is a very popular one. I think this won the Pulitzer in 13 or 15, or when did it win a Pulitzer? I tend to be won over by books that win the Pulitzer. I'm like, I want to see who are the movers and shakers, or who's a finalist. This is copyright 2014, so I'm guessing it won in 2014 or 15. I read the first chapter and just never got back to it, but I've heard it's a very good book, and so I want to read it. So maybe, I hate making commitments. I'm a commitment phobe, guys. Let's start off small. Let's say I'm going to read this book in the next month. So what is it? What's today? So by July, let me give myself a couple extra days. July 25th, I'll post a book review video talking about this book. So if you guys want to read this book, get it and read it. I'm sure many of you have already read it, but I want to hear what you think about it. We're going to talk about it in a month. And maybe one of these other books too. Tell me what you think if you've read these other books, if I should finish them, what you thought. And yeah, man, yeah. So that's that. That's all the books I did not read. Get it? It's a play on the title of the last book there. So thanks so much for watching. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I haven't done an unlisted video in a while. So if you've stuck around this far, you're getting rewarded. I think I'm going to do another video. And only the cool people who click on it at the end, the card right here, are gonna see it. So I'll see you there. I'm just going to talk about a few things related to the channel, about my mental health issues, and fun things like that. I'll see you there. Take care.